Hey guys, I hope you're all doing pretty well today. I know I am. I just got out from work and it started raining. It's a it's a pretty gloomy day today, but we were able to get stuff done. So I got home and made up some delicious food. I'm gonna need to start making some cooking videos too because I love cooking and I have a few recipes maybe just to throw them out there, just some things I do. Uh, but I said the other day that I wanted to make a video about rereading things. So lately I've been reading the C++ Primer 5th edition, and it is the book I wish I had 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I've been learning programming for on and off my whole life, basically ever since I first knew what programming was. I was like, I need to learn how to do this. But really, if I don't learn something the really intense way, that I need to know every last little detail, then it just doesn't stick with me. I can't just get the base cover. If I'm doing some programming in some environment, like some development environment that is taking care of so much for me, I'm pissed off because I don't feel like I'm getting the full treatment. The C++ primer book, it's giving me, I don't think it's like super technical, but it's pretty damn technical, at least more than I'm used to. It's answered so many questions that I've had just sitting in the back of my mind that the teacher at the college I was at didn't seem to know, or at least didn't go over, because it was a beginner's course, which is why I left, because I'm able to teach myself a little bit better. And things like this are why I was recommended the C++ book from various places. A few people were talking about it, and as soon as I saw like multiple people talking about it, I was like, this is something I need to read. So I made a list of a bunch of programming books I need to read, and C++ Primer, I just picked as first, because it seemed like it would be the best one to start off with, and it is. I've gone through, I'm on like chapter 7 now, which is about classes, and each chapter has gone over stuff I've already known about, except for one chapter about pointers and references, because I could never find anything in any of the books that I had at the time that went over pointers and references in a full, complete way for me to understand it. This has, so it's gone over things I've already known about, but it's cemented them in, and it's good. So the point of rereading something comes twofold. One is I'm rereading through a programming language again. I learned C# at one point. I learned JavaScript at one point, enough to get through to where I know what a variable is. I know how to do addition, a function call, a class, that kind of stuff. And now I'm on C++ and I did the same thing. I've already gone through one book that was just kind of going over the basics of it in a very simplistic way. Now I'm going through C++ Primer again. So the point is I'm rereading and relearning how to program so many times that by now it's pretty cemented in. I'm able to not necessarily do things because I haven't written many programs utilizing stuff, and that's the best way to really cement it in, is to actually use it for something. But I'm learning in a way that's sinking it in a lot more, because I've learned it so many times my brain is able to pick it up really quick, and because I already have mastered the very simple stuff like a variable, I'm able to learn the more complicated stuff involved with it, like pointers and references. They're supposed to be a little bit more difficult, but I'm able to understand it pretty easily now. And the other thing I want to talk about with rereading is, before I would read a chapter and that chapter was done. I'm finished with it. I'm not going back unless I'm really stuck. And when I was reading C++ Primer, I got to about chapter 3 before I was like, I'm not able to go forward because I'm not understanding the stuff they're talking about. But I know I just read it. So I went back to the very beginning and read through chapters 1, 2, and 3 again. And when I did that, I picked up on so much more than I missed the first time, or at least it's re-cemented it in the advanced topics, or at least the most advanced parts of the chapter. So when I reread this, I was like, wait a second, I'm actually understanding it. I'm getting it. I'm picking up every word. The words that I didn't even know what they meant beforehand, now I'm familiar with. And now I'm to chapter 7, and I've been kind of rereading each chapter as I go along. I'll read the chapter and then just reread it right away, or very shortly thereafter, and it just makes so much more sense. There's things that, like, inline function. I've never heard the word inline function before. Now that I read the book, read through the chapter first time, I was like, okay, that's an interesting concept. I wonder how it's used. I keep reading a little bit further ahead, and I see some of the places where it's used, and then when I go back and reread the chapter, I'm like, inline function, okay, I know what this is, I know what that's used for, now let me see how they introduce it, because they introduce things really well in the C++ primer, so I'm like, inline functions, got that down, they're super simple. And then you have other things like, let me think, friend. I didn't know anything about friending a function so that it could be used in a class. Now I do, and it makes a lot of sense to me. That's what I'm actually stuck on right now, is making a class member function a friend of a different class. And the book kind of goes over it, and it kind of just stopped. It just had like a paragraph about it. I know how to make a class a friend of another class, and I know how to make a function a friend of another function, but not a class's member function a friend of a different class. So I looked up online and I wasn't able to quite find anything. Now that's kind of where I'm at. I know I'm going to read ahead, keep reading, and just put it in the back of my mind, and when I reread chapter 7, I'll probably figure it out and get a good grasp, or I'll find another resource that'll go over it. But me rereading the book has really benefited more than me reading 2 books. So if you read a book and it really made a lot of sense to you and helped you out, it would probably make even more sense to you and help you out more to reread it again. It's worth the extra time, especially because with stuff you already know, you absolutely have down, you can kind of just skip over it. So the second read through usually goes a little bit faster. That's the point for today. I'll leave it at that. Take care, guys.